Alright, welcome back ladies and gentlemen to the Chupacabra Tutorials channel. I'm your host Larry, and today I'm going to show you how to form clay inside of Vintage Story. So, there's a couple different kinds of clay that you can run into. You can run into red clay, blue clay, or fire clay, and you can actually make fire clay, which is a higher tier of clay that you need to do to make things like bread ovens. When you're walking around in the environment, you might notice that you can kind of see the sides of the blocks. You can see, this goes from grass to dirt. When you hover it over it, it tells you what this block is. As you're walking along, you'll see something like this that either looks kind of bluish or kind of reddish. It's kind of mottled and speckled, and that's going to be what you're looking for either higher quality soil, or if it's very red or blue, it's going to be clay. If it's kind of like an in-between, it looks a lot like this, but it's more of like kind of like a tan. That's also fire clay, but I'm not sure if that actually appears naturally in the world anymore. So we're going to dig this up, because you need quite a bit of it. So bring yourself a shovel if you don't have one, or make one if you bring yourself materials to make stuff. And when you dig it up, it's just going to look like these big old piles of random bricks and slop in your inventory. And you're going to want to carry as much back with you to base as you can, because you end up needing a lot of this stuff. And it goes quick. You end up using, on just a couple of items, like a whole stack or a stack and a half of clay in order to make some of the more advanced stuff. So make sure you have lots of space in your inventory. If you're curious the best places to find this, let me see here. Red clay. So basically, it'll tell you that you can find this in areas with high precipitation. If you want like very forested areas, places with a lot of moisture, and pretty much anywhere above sea level, I guess, which would explain why it's up in the side of this hill. Because I'm in a more forested area where you can find a lot of granite, and there's a lot of lakes. Like I found blue clay over here, and I found this red clay over here in this mountainside. Alright, so now that we're home, I dug up enough clay to break my shovel. And the way that you use this is the same way that you use like rocks or flint in order to craft different tool heads. So you just go find a spot to work, crouch down with shift, and then use that clay to right click the ground. And here you can make a number of different clay forms. You can make bowls, which you need for cooking purposes. So you'd make like a cooking pot, and then you'd use the bowls to scoop out of the cooking pot in order to then eat it. You'd also want to be able to make crucibles to melt ore, to make different better tools out of metal. But what we probably want to start with is some storage with a raw red clay storage vessel. So we're going to click on that, and what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to fill in, rather than destroy, these different highlighted areas with clay. We're just going to go ahead and right click to fill it in with clay. And you have some options here that are going to make this a little less tedious, because I know what you're saying to yourself, Larry. If I have to do this all layer by layer, just like that, it's going to be a gigundo pain in the ass. And you're right, it would be. But now, you hit F to change to a larger editing tool. And you can fill in larger areas with a quick sweep of your mouse, rather than having to individually fill in every last one of those. Then we can go back to the single. We can fill in what will soon be the sidewalls, but there's a lot of layers of sidewalls on this particular vessel. So what we're going to use is a tool that's just called the copy tool, which will just copy the last layer that you filled in, exactly as, well, not how you filled it in order, but close to how it was filled in. It'll just continuously, as I hold this, because this is the copy duplicate layer tool, it'll just fill in those edges when I hit F and select it. And it'll do that even if I'm trying to fill in something that's a different pattern. So be careful and pay attention so that you don't overdo it and cause more work for yourself by filling in like the lid with the wall. See, sort of like this. So now I have to select one by one again and erase what I just did. Now I have to individually fill in the inside of the lid now. This is going to be the mouth of the vessel. You can kind of move around if you want to get a better look. You need a better vantage, because not all views are made even when you're trying to get different funny angles and craft a jug. Delete that. Then we can go up to the 2x2. Fill that in slowly. And then we're going to finish off by doing a big flat piece with the big flat tool. We can duplicate layer. Duplicate layer tool is fantastic. And when I found that out, life became a lot easier. And now, if I empty my slot, I can just pick that up. And now I have to take this item and fire it in a pit outside. So for the last step, to get our finished product, we're going to have to cook this in a kiln. And to do that, you're just going to make a pit kiln. You just stuff whatever item is that you want inside of a 1x1 hole. I'm going to grab a big old pile of dry grass, which you can get by cutting grass with a knife. And then I'm going to shift-click, fill in around this pot with the dry grass until I won't fill it up anymore. And then I'm going to grab some firewood to fill it up. Well, actually, first sticks. Firewood is last. I'm going to grab some sticks and fill up around it until it won't fill up anymore. Then last, I'm going to grab some firewood to cover up the top. And then the last thing you got to do is just light this bad boy and let it all burn down until all that's left is a nice vessel that you can use. All that's left is a nice vessel that you can use to store things in, because it's basically just a storage jar. You can craft all sorts of things this way. Some of the stuff is kind of required for progression. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to actually go make a mold for a shovel head and some other tools so that I can go smelt them in our lovely forge, which will be the tutorial that I show you how to do next. So I hope you found this helpful. This has been how to work with clay inside a vintage story. I hope you found this helpful, and I'll catch you next time. Bye, everybody. Have a good one.